This is the 2015 IZIP E3 Peak, and it's got a mid-drive motor, which is excellent for off-roading because it allows you to climb a little bit more efficiently, and it also keeps the weight really low and very balanced. Also, it makes changing flats a little bit easier. You can see we've got a quick release in the rear, quick release in the front, because you don't have any hub motors there. There's no wires connecting it. It's basically like a regular bike, a little bit easier to service, do maintenance and stuff on. And it's using a 10-speed cassette back here, so 10 gears is pretty solid for climbing or reaching those higher speeds. You'll notice there's only one sprocket in the front, and that's because it's using the mid-drive, and that's pretty much how most of these mid-drive bikes are set up. And with those chain guides there, which double as a bash guard, you know, it keeps the chain on track, and it just makes this a little bit more rugged and durable as an off-road bike. The battery pack on this is 48 volt, 8.7 amp hour, so it's fairly sizable, but without adding too much weight to the overall frame. You know, the capacity on that is maybe about standard, but with 48 volts you're getting a lot more power, and that's actually more efficient in terms of energy distribution, and it really works well with that 350 watt geared mid-drive. And I love that the battery is removable, so you can easily take that off and charge it, you know, or store it. And that's especially useful if you're taking this out to the trail and maybe you're using a hanging style bike rack, and you want to reduce the weight, because at 49 pounds you've still got the weight of the motor, which is also probably like 10 or 12 pounds. So you know, if you can imagine you're carrying a few bikes, maybe even a few electric bikes, that could start to put some stress on your bike rack. And so I love that they, you know, of course, do the removable piece there. And it's always a good idea just to kind of keep that thing topped off, avoid extreme cold, extreme heat, and that'll help it last a little bit longer. We've got these nice Welgo metal platform pedals. They're a little bit narrower than some of the ones I've seen, and I like that they're kind of extended and they give you good grip. They aren't just plastic. They're not going to be slippery like that. It does come in two sizes, like 17-inch and a 19-inch, both of them high step only, but it's kind of what you would expect for, you know, a trail or a mountain bike. I've also got a nice RockShox here in the front. It's got 100 millimeters of travel and lockout, which is always cool because this bike could double for an around town kind of bike. You can see there's the little the bosses here at the back for adding a rear carry rack or fenders. So this could potentially be like, you know, around town and then take it out on the trails. And it does come with these nice knobbier tires. It's Alex rims, pretty good quality. It's a 650B wheel size, or 27.5, which is a step up from 26, that's the traditional size, and a step down from 29, which is really big. And so this one has, you know, good rolling momentum, but it's still a little bit more maneuverable because the wheel isn't, you know, super large. Tektro disc brakes, front and rear, hydraulic, so they're going to be super easy to activate here with just a couple fingers, and 180 millimeter rotors there. So yeah, I think it's kind of all of the bicycle aspects of this bike. Also quick release seat post here, so you know, all that kind of stuff. Trigger shifters right there in the front, grips with lockers. You know, it's a good setup as a bike. But then when you start to get into the electric drive aspects of this, there are a number of really good sort of balance decisions that they've made. I mentioned earlier that the motor is right here, like low, center on the frame, and so is the battery. You can see it's mounted there on the down tube, and it kind of takes up the spot where a water bottle might otherwise go. And you could potentially get one that, you know, kind of like an add-on accessory, but they don't have the bosses here, and depending on the frame size you get, that's going to be a little bit tight. I've seen some bottle cages that fit really nicely on the back by the seat or the seat post, but you know, a lot of times when I go off-road and trail ride, I'm taking a Camelback, so that's another option. What we're working with here is a 350 watt geared mid-drive system by TransX, and 350 watts is pretty solid. That's the same size as like the Bosch system, This one's not quite as fancy. It's you know, it's measuring several things here, including your speed and cadence, but it's not taking quite as many measurements quite as quickly, so it's not as fluid. Of course, this is a lot cheaper. This bike is about $3,100, and it still offers plenty of torque. And it's actually a speed pedelec, and it has a throttle mode. So that's really cool. Before I get there though, I should say this is a 48-volt battery, which is significant. When you combine the two, you know, 48 volts with a 350-watt mid-drive, you get just extra power, and that's really great when you're climbing especially. So the way it's designed to work when you do climb, and actually I'm gonna hop on it here and get away from this leaf blower sound a little bit. Let's see. Shift gears a little bit. Cool. So I'm just riding it, you know, under my own power right now, and it feels pretty good. Again, at that like 49 pounds, it's pretty well balanced. Anyway, the way that this bike is set up, you can actually operate it just using the throttle up to about 6 miles per hour. And that's cool because it gives you the ability to start, you know, without having to strain your knees or your legs. You can get a little bit of a boost. But then if you want to go faster than that, you've got to use the pedal assist mode. Pedal assist can actually take you up to 28 miles per hour. So it is a speed pedelec. This thing can go quite fast under human power with pedal assist only. Now, there's this really interesting sort of in-between moment where you're beyond 6 miles per hour using the throttle. If you're pedaling, you can actually use the throttle up to 20 miles per hour. And the thinking there is, you know, you use this bike like a mountain bike. You're pedaling, you're using your body to move the bike, and that's gonna keep you focused on riding instead of, you know, using a throttle and potentially, you know, that can get a little bit squirrely. But if you're coming up to like a steep incline, you can actually add a little bit more juice with the throttle. So I hope that makes sense. 6 miles per hour with the throttle only, but if you're pedaling, then you can go to 20 miles per hour with the throttle. And again, the thinking there is just that you're on a trail, you're not using the throttle, you're pedaling in pedal assist, you get to a steep part, oh boy, and you know, then you twist the throttle, and that helps you over the last hump. So it's a unique design. It's very similar to kind of the 2014 design, and I was sort of stuck on like, how does this work? But when you compare this system to like a Bosch system, they don't have a throttle at all, right? So there really isn't that opportunity for extra boost. There isn't that opportunity for low speed, non-pedaling. So I think it's kind of a unique setup, and you know, I can appreciate what they're going for here. So they've also got a new sort of like a button interface, a breakout button pad right here, and it's completely rubberized, so it really looks good for water protection, dust protection, which is great if you're on the trail. Press that power button there, and it should turn on the console right in the middle there, though it's not. I'd have to... Oh yeah, okay, so first you've got to press the power button on the battery. There, now we see it light up. Then we can go up here and press the power button for the bike. Yeah, and it does this countdown, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now we can see the speed, battery level, and assist level. Right now we're in 4. Kind of arrow down 3, 2, 1, and there's the throttle. Start out in this mode. See how that does. Whoa boy, just kind of kicks right in. Whoa, quite powerful. But yeah, very quickly we're up to 10 miles per hour, and then the throttle cuts out. It really cuts out at 6, but okay, so here we're slowing down to 6. There it goes again. Just like that. I'm going to show you what that looks like. There we go. That's kind of a neat feature. But if you want to go beyond that 6 miles per hour, then you've got to, you know, use that pedal assist feature. So I'm going to arrow into a different mode there. I'm going to go into 4. Yeah, pretty responsive. And you'll notice it cut out pretty quickly when I stopped pedaling, and that's important if you're riding, you know, on a mountain trail and you get to the edge of a cliff or something and you stop. You don't want that motor continuing to ride. Yeah, very interesting. And you can actually see here that they have an additional cable coming out of the brake levers here. So when you activate those brakes, it's also cutting motor power, and that's a good safety feature. I sometimes use that to switch gears as well, because on a mid-drive system like this, the motor is pulling on the chain, and so are you, and that can create kind of a mashing situation with the gears. So a lot of times I'll kind of ease up on my pedaling, or maybe even tap the brakes, and then I'll switch gears so that it doesn't grind. I'm going to do a little bit more riding here. Cool. Let's try to go a little bit faster. Yep. Well, I got it up to about 23 miles per hour in the parking lot here, and it's not too bad. Definitely gets the job done. Well, that's the 2015 IZIP E3 Peak. They've also got a full suspension version of this bike for 2015. I'm going to do a separate review on that one, but it has a lot of similarities to this bike. For the full written review, more information including pictures and specs, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com.